Good afternoon, and welcome to the NSTP FASET Campus Partner presentation. My name is James Allen Jr., and I'm a coordinator for New Student and Transition Programs here at Georgia Tech, where I specifically work with our Extended Orientation Program, Rec Camp. Today, I will serve as your moderator for this presentation, along with Kirby Criswell, who is a member of FASET Cabinet. We are so excited that you are here with us today, and welcome you and your students to the Georgia Tech family. We also hope that you and your loved ones are safe during these uncertain times. To begin our campus partner presentation, I would like to introduce our presenters who will be with us today. John Stein, Vice President of Student Life and Dean of Students. Lacey Whedon, the Director of Parent and Family Programs. Tyler Barker, the Coordinator of Parent and Family Programs. And Emily Takadine, Director of Development and Parent Giving for the Division of Student Life. As a reminder, if you have a question that has not been asked, please feel free to send a message in our anonymous chat bar within Microsoft Teams. We will do our very best to field all questions asked within this hour time frame. To begin our campus partner presentation, I now turn it over to Dean Johnson, Vice President of Student Life and Dean of Student here at Georgia Tech.
Thank you, James, and greetings to everyone from Atlanta and from Georgia Tech. I'm in my office here at Tech. And let me start by just again, if you were at the meeting, the welcome, I said thank you, and I wanted to congratulate you and to your student, and I want to say that again, congratulations, and you have much to be proud of. Their admission to Tech is a major, major accomplishment for them and for you as a family, and you should all feel very proud about that and very excited about it. We are just days away now from the beginning of the academic year, and the excitement is growing, and the planning continues to happen to make sure that we have a great year ahead of us. Today, I'm going to share a little bit about, the division, our work, and more importantly, about what to expect in the first semester, first year at Tech for incoming first year students. Very little bit about my background. I've been at Tech 19 years, which means I've had many conversations with students and with families, and they all have taught me a great deal. Much of this presentation has to do with what I've learned from students over time. I've been in the field of working with college students now for about almost 40 years, so a great deal of experience and a great deal of knowledge that they have, again, taught me during my tenure here and elsewhere. So let's begin. Next slide. So this division is student life. We're committed to enriching the student's experience holistically, academically, personally, professionally. We really work very closely with the academic side of the house. We focus on leadership and transition, healthy lifestyles, and cultural awareness and educational growth. We're a global campus. We have students from all over the world, and we really do value that. We appreciate that. We celebrate it, and we want our students to. We want them to step out of their comfort zones and get to know the students around them, who they're living and studying with and, experiencing life with. So next slide. These are the main categories. As I said, we have a whole set of staff that are focused on mental health and well-being. It's a very, very important commitment on our part. I want you to know that we have probably somewhere in the range of 40 mental health professionals working on the campus in psychiatry, the counseling center, and our Center for Assessment, Referral, and Education, which we call CARE. It is a triage center that students are assigned to before they're assigned to counseling and stuff. We have our inclusion, advocacy, and support. You can see the different resource centers on campus and our student diversity programs. Our STAR program is for temporary resources for students. That has to do with homelessness and food deprivation and other ways that we can assist students when we learn of their needs. And mostly we learn of those through other students who care enough and tell us about a student who might be struggling. Many ways to get engaged and involved on campus. Students have so many choices. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. There's 500 clubs and organizations on the campus. There's fraternity life. there's student media and publications, there's civic engagement and community service, and certainly a number of programs through the arts. Our orientation and transition have to do with disability services. We have about 1,100 plus students enrolled with that program. We have new student and transition programs, which focuses on first and second year students. FASET is a part of that. And then obviously we have our parent and family programs, which you'll hear more about. And then we do a lot around leadership and through the different leadership education and development. We also have a fundraising piece to the division, and we have a research and assessment. And we are the stewards of the student integrity. We have an office of student integrity. They actually are the ones that administer the code of conduct and the honor code and any violations that students might be involved in those areas. Next slide, please. So we're in a very interesting moment. We will, with days away from merging two divisions, the Student Life Division and Campus Services, into one division. We will then be the Division of Student Engagement and Wellbeing. It is designed to better support student success, and it'll put us in line with the Institute's new 10-year strategic plan. It builds on all of the services that exist between these two divisions. Do I think students will see a major shift in terms of their daily lives? No, because a lot of it's going to be happening behind the scenes and stuff. It's really more to offer a seamless kind of experience for students and for the two divisions to work more closely together. But it is exciting. We're hiring a new vice president who will begin on August 1st. I will step back and return to my role as Associate VP and Dean of Students. And Dean of Students now for 15 years at Georgia Tech, and it's a role that I really value and look forward to going back full time. Next slide, please. But here's where we are, and this is what I really want to talk about, is starting college. And you know, if we were in the same room together, I'd be asking like how many of you can think back and remember that time, you know, however long ago or short ago it was. It is an exciting time. It's a very exciting time. It's exciting for your student. It's exciting for you. It's exciting as a family. They've worked really hard to get to this place and to be accepted, and they should feel really proud. But it's also a confusing time. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of new information. If they're living with us, there's, you know, all kinds of new things that they have to know in terms of living on their own. It's a liberating time. They leave you and they leave home. They come to us. They're on their own, and that can be a very liberating experience. It's also a demanding time. It's a demanding time academically, and it's a demanding time socially and personally, more so than they probably realize, and that's not bad. That reality will come more as they kind of have a lived experience with us. It is different. It's very different than high school. It's not grade 13. It is a very different experience, college. And it's emotional time. It's an emotional time for them. It's an emotional time for you. It's an emotional time if you're launching your first, if you're launching your last, if you're launching your first and only. These can be emotional times. That will be felt when you bring them back and leave them here if they're staying with us, living with us, and you have to drive away. That is okay. I mean, I wouldn't try to hide that. It's okay. For them to know that you'll miss them, and it's okay for you to know that they'll miss you, okay? Some students might be a little bit homesick in the beginning, not uncommon, you know, a very normal kind of reaction. What we just want to make sure is that they don't stay stuck in that place too long. If you get worried about that, you should let us know, and we can do a check and see how they're doing. But mostly I want you to know it's a time of transition. And if you think about transitions in life, major changes, new jobs, move to a new state, move to a new neighborhood, big things, right? Transitions of those kind have all of this. They're exciting, it can be confusing, it can be demanding and liberating. It certainly can be different, and it can be emotional in terms of leaving for neighbors and leaving former employees and stuff like that. So think of this as a transition. It's not an event, it's a process, and it's a transition that will play out through the whole year and beyond, but you'll feel it most, I think, in that first semester and first year. Next slide, please. Things that you can do to kind of help them and help yourselves is to just be patient with all of it. Okay, just kind of understand it and try to be patient with the process. Be supportive, right? Be flexible. Not everything has to get done today. Think through what needs to happen between now and the time that they need to come back and move in. Be understanding about what they're going through in the process. Be understanding about what you're going through too. And then be clear about your expectations. Be really clear about your expectations. And there I don't mean, we want you to earn a 4.0. Okay? That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm asking you to think through is what's the 1 or 2 most important things that you want your student to remember as they leave you and they come to live and be with us? What are the 1 or 2 things that they should hold on to? And tell them that. Okay, be really clear and say to them, this is what I want you to remember. Okay, I can tell you in my conversations with first-year students, when I ask them this question, if you have shared with it, they remember it, okay? And they usually are very appreciative of having had that message. So please try to do that before they return to the campus. Next slide, please. Common concerns or fears, whatever word you want to use in regards to them, the first is it's a pretty obvious one, and that is kind of making friends, okay? What I think we need to be aware of is that for all of us, anytime we move into a new space, a new kind of group, one of the first things we do consciously or unconsciously is we look around and we assess the situation and we ask the question either consciously or unconsciously, do I fit in? Are these people like me? Is there common ground here? And I think that's what they're going to be going through when they finally arrive and start meeting people. They will be assessing the other students, and they will be assessing their place in relation to Georgia Tech. Now, Georgia Tech is a very, very diverse place, and there's all kinds of students here. And they should, over time, be able to find their peer group that they are most comfortable with, okay? But making friends at 16, 17, and 18 is very different than making friends at 5 and 6 and 7 years old. You know much more about yourself. You know what you like. You know what you're comfortable with. You know your past success. You know your past failures. You know your reputation. All of that is much more known at this age than it was when you're a child and much younger. And that plays into how you approach it, okay? And so in the beginning, it's really not about making friends. It's about making connections to the people around you, in your residence hall, in your classes, in your whatever groups you get involved in, right? And making connections starts with a very basic kind of step. And that is I come into my chemistry class and I sit down and I look to my right and I look to my left and I say one word, and that word might be hello, or I nod hi. But one important thing I do is I make eye contact with that person, right? And hopefully that person says hello back, and that's how it starts, okay? And that's where it might end in that first class. Second class, we come back, we all sit in the same places, because that's what most college students do. And I look over, and again, I nod, and I say, hey, my name is John, okay? And hopefully that person can respond back with an A. And this is how it begins to happen, all right? Simple baby steps, right? We don't have to tell our whole life story on the first encounter we have with each other. And we know some students will jump into this and have no problem. They'll just ease into it, they're comfortable, and we know others are gonna struggle. I mean, we know that. We had a group of students at Georgia Tech, for whatever reason, shyness or introvertedness, they just really, this is not easy for them to do. And we know that. We try to help them in residence halls, in GT 1000, which I suggest they enroll in. The RAs work with them, and certainly within orientation in terms of the smaller groups that they're assigned to. Roommates is another concern. Nobody wants to get stuck with X person, whatever X is in their head. I am not a very athletic person, I don't want to, be living with the most athletic individual in the class. It would feel too intimidating. I don't want to live with the druggie. I don't want to live with the, student who's going to have their significant other in the room all the time. I mean, whatever concern they have. Now, roommates, it'll take a while, and certainly if they know someone from home or high school that they're going to be living with, that makes it a little bit easier, but I will say people don't really know each other until they live with each other. So it's very different when they become roommates. But roommates do not have to be best friends, all right? They do not have to be best friends, and we don't want to set it up that way. What they have to do is have each other's back. They have to communicate. They have to trust each other and the belongings in the room. They have to respect each other. Okay, that's really what needs to happen. And they have to come to common understanding of what can and cannot happen in that room, and when, and what should come in and not come into that room, and who should come in and who shouldn't come into that room. That's really what needs to happen in terms of a real roommate good situation. Leaving home is another kind of fear or concern. They may not articulate that. That's played up against the kind of liberation piece of it. But leaving home it's intimidating to think I'll be on my own. What if I get sick? Who's around to help me? Those kinds of things. Grades, they're very smart. They made it into Georgia Tech. And grades, what will happen is they'll keep hearing about the rigor of Georgia Tech and how difficult it can be. Now remember what Dr. Gerardo said if you were at the welcome this morning, 97% of our first year students return for second year. Okay, so we have a very, very high retention rate. Most of them, a good percentage of them do fine, okay? But grades usually is when the first round of exam is when they feel this. And that's because something may happen they're not used to. And that what may happen is if they've been a straight A student or very, very close to being a straight A student, they may lose that. And they may get their first B, and they may get their first C. And that's an unfamiliar place for our students. It's not a comfortable place. It's not a happy place for them. They get upset. They're used to doing very well, okay? And so failure at Georgia Tech for first year students doesn't necessarily translate to actual failure, an F. It could translate to a B or a C, okay? And so first year students, it takes a while to get used to grading and how things play out. But I do want to say that first exams are really important because you will learn a lot about your faculty member, how they construct exams, how they grade exams. So even if you fall short on the first, there's always more to come, and you can learn how to take the exam and how to study for it. One of the biggest concerns or fears is the unknown. Everything they wish they knew that they don't know. Okay, how do I get to my classes? Where are all these buildings located? Who am I going to have dinner with the first night? Will I make friends here? What's expected of me from these faculty members? What happens if I get sick? These are the kinds of things that might be in their head. Some might be saying it out loud to you. A lot of them do not, but it's the unknown. And what I would say is there's really no way to give answers to everything. That much of this is lived experience. They will come, they will start living here, and they will learn. And they will, quickly figure out how to get from point A to B in the most efficient way. And they will learn where the buildings are, where their classrooms are and stuff. And the way to do that is they will do it on their own, or they will ask other people. They will ask upperclassmen, they will ask their RA, how do I get from this building to that building? What's the quickest path, right? But they need to ask, they need to really exercise being kind of initiating these things. They can't just wait for it to come because it may not come. Right, so it's important for them to really take ownership for that, okay? But it's always amazing to me, I teach GT 1000 every fall, and it's always amazing because probably 2-3 weeks in, I'll ask the question, how many of you feel like you know a lot more than you did when you first arrived. And hands go up, and then I ask again in week 6 or 7, more hands go up. And it's amazing, just the lived experience of being here, how quickly they learn it and how quickly they really figure things out. Safety and security is an issue just in terms of being in a major city. A lot of students come from different places, maybe small towns. We're in a major urban city, and they just may not be as comfortable as back home. Security is really very good here. We have a relatively safe, and I say relatively only because we are not a contained campus, we're an open campus. But if students take the necessary precautions that they can stay to the internal side of the institute and not be walking in the middle of the night alone, I think they'll be fine, okay? Great, next slide, please. What you can do to ready your student. So the 3 top skills, decision-making, problem-solving, and coping, are the 3 most important skills and life skills in my mind. They make or break the most smartest student in the class, okay? And let's quickly go through them. Decision-making. If I was to ask you to think through today, just today, how many decisions you've already made today? Okay, you made a decision to come to this talk or not, right? You made other decisions along the way. We make lots of decisions in any day, given day. Most of the decisions we make sometimes are not things that we really spend too much time on. Okay, they're kind of quick decisions that we make. And then there are times where we know we have to really think something through, we ponder it, we kind of think of pros and cons, but they will be making lots of decisions. And they have been, I don't want to say that this is going to be new, they have been, obviously, all along the way. But the difference is they're going to make these decisions in your absence, okay? And they're going to be here alone, and they're going to be making them. And they're going to be making them at every hour of the day and night, okay? And, the big ones, I think they're going to know how to problem solve that. And I think the big ones are the ones that, they may even engage you in that conversation. However, the decisions I'm talking about, let me give you just some examples, okay? If they're living in residence here, they will move in, and then over time, they may be walking down the hall of their freshman building and stuff, and, somebody might invite them in, okay? And they go into the room, and they look around, and they see some things that shouldn't be in that room. There's presence of alcohol, and we'll leave it at that, okay? In that moment, they have to make a split-second decision. Do I stay in this room, or do I leave? Okay, if I leave, how do I get out of here? How do I save face and get out of the room? Okay, if I stay, what's the odds of me getting caught in this room where something is present that shouldn't be present? Okay, and this is the kind of thing, situations they'll be placed in, all right? There is a risk to staying, because if an RA or someone comes down the hall, keeps their head in, looks, sees alcohol, every single student in that room will be written up for being in a room where alcohol is present for underage students. They are in their room, it's in the evening, they're good students, they've done their homework, they've done their lab reports, and a friend, a pledge brother, sister, someone from high school that's also with that comes in, calls them, texts them, and says, did you do the lab? Did you do the homework? Can I see it? They have to make a decision. Do I share it? Do I not share it? Okay, what's the consequences of sharing it, right? And if I'm not going to share it, how do I say that? Not get someone angry at me or disappointed in me. But if they do share it, and then the faculty member sees too much of a likeness between theirs and the other person, they will send them over to the Office of Student Integrity for inappropriate collaboration, potentially. See, these are the kinds of decisions that are going to have to be made in a moment, all right? And that's where they need to kind of start thinking through, how do I react? How would I react? What can I say? Almost to kind of script it out a little bit, to have a plan as to how to back out of something, how to say no to something. They'll have to make a decision on, staying home and doing the lab, studying for the test when they just got a great invitation to go off and do something really fun that night. And you're not there to say you need to really stay home and do that work. Or you're not even there to ask the question, did you get all the work done, right? Problem solving is another piece, and that is just trying to sort out any situation that comes their way that needs to be problem solved. Now, Georgia Tech is a terrific place, but we're big, and at times we're a little bit bureaucratic here and stuff. We're not perfect, so there will be problems that need to be solved, and they're going to have to figure out how to do that. Okay, and now what I'm going to say to you is that the way that you can assist them with that is I want you to stop giving answers to things. I want you to ask strategic questions. Okay, huge difference between the two. Let's think about it. You're getting a call, however they communicate with you. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm going to fail this class. I'm so far behind. I don't understand anything. Right? Now you're on the other end of whatever message means it came, phone or text or whatever. And as a parent, you're probably feeling their anxiety. And now you're getting anxious too in terms of what's going on. Your first instinct many times as a parent is to say, do X. You give the answer to your student. All right? And what I want you to do is not do that. Okay, what I want you to do is ask strategic questions. Who can you talk to about this? Who can help you? All right. And don't be surprised if what comes back is, I don't know, I'm not sure. No, I don't know anybody. Right? I'm new here. Okay, fine. Again, you remember from orientation, all kinds of information. And so again, your instinct is to just give the answer. I'm asking you, don't do that. Turn to them and say, is there anybody in your immediate vicinity that you can reach out to help you with this problem or to figure this out? And I'm going to reassure you that there are people around. There are upperclassmen around. There are RAs around. Their academic advisor is one email away. Their faculty member is one email away. There's always a dean on call that they can call and speak to. If they're feeling really overwhelmed, there's always a counselor on call that they can connect with and speak to. I mean, there's always someone here 24/7, 365 days a week that they can work with. So ask questions, don't give answers. Finally, coping. Everyone has to cope. That's part of life. We all have to learn how to cope. And they'll have to, and they've been doing this again too, but they'll have to learn how to cope with feeling overwhelmed. And not so much for bad things. You could feel overwhelmed because there's just so many great things to do. I don't know where to start. They'll have to cope with disappointment, right? If they don't get into that fraternity they really wanted, if they don't, become the first year class president, whatever it is that they go for and they may fall short, they'll have to cope with that first grade that falls short of their expectations. These are things that, they're going to have to navigate. You cannot save them from this anymore, all right? They're going to have to navigate this. You certainly can be there to support them, but they're going to have to figure out how to cope with these things and manage to get through it, okay? I want you to deliver messages of trust. I trust you. Even if there's been past transgressions, put those aside for the moment. Start anew until, and hopefully they won't, but until they give you a reason not to trust them. Please make sure you can say it's okay to make mistakes. Nobody is perfect. This will not be a perfect kind of journey. Let's not set it up that way, okay? Believe in them, even when they may stop believing in themselves sometimes during their time here. Remind them, okay, very smart, you can do this, believe in yourself. And finally, it's okay to be honest. I need for them to be okay, and with being okay with it, you can accept what they need to tell you. Many times students come in, I talk to them. One of the first questions I ask is, does your family know what's going on? No. Why not? I don't want to disappoint them. I don't want to overwhelm them. I know they have something going on at home right now, but I need for them to be honest with you, because every time they're less than honest with you and they're pretending that things are going great, academically it's going fantastic, socially I'm doing great, and that reality is not there. They feel worse when they get off that phone call, and it only makes them feel worse. So they have to be able to be honest with you, and you have to be strong enough to hear what they need to tell you, okay? Discuss everyday important issues, health and safety, in the moment we're in terms of just taking the necessary precautions. I did review with them this morning. They'll have to take 3 online classes in sexual violence, in alcohol and drugs, and in mental health. And then over and over and over, I'm going to ask you, remind them of self-care. Okay, please sleep, please eat, please get some exercise in whatever form, and please take care of themselves in terms of their well-being and mental health. Okay, if you start picking up on really signals of concern regarding their well-being and mental health, they sound depressed, they don't sound the same, they don't sound like they usually do, and it's not just a one-time conversation, you feel like it's, you know, a pattern of something, let us know, and we will figure out an intervention that we can make and help them. Next slide. So the 4 attributes. So what I've taken over time is kind of what I've learned from students, and there are 4 things that I have kind of compressed it to that in my mind really promotes student success. The first is self-control, self-regulation. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that the more I am in control of my life, the more I'm in control of the decisions I make, the more that I can self-regulate my life and my decisions and, you know, my day, the better. Okay, when I'm out of control, when life feels out of control, when other things are controlling me or regulating me, that's not going to promote success. Okay, you cannot allow something or someone to really control you. You've got to find ways to stay in control and self-regulate. Okay, self-compassion just means when they fall short for whatever reason, they give themselves a break. Right? It'll happen. Okay, they cannot beat themselves up. They cannot stay stuck in a place where they're not motivated anymore. Have some compassion. Now, you can have all the compassion in the world for them, but if they don't have it for themselves, it's not going to be as meaningful in terms of their success. Okay, academic engagement, pretty clear. You must be engaged academically. That means going to class, fulfilling assignments, and going to class, whether it's virtually or in person, okay? Staying connected to your faculty, your TA, your other students, and joining study groups, all of that. The student who's more academically engaged is a much more successful student than a student who is disengaged academically. And then friendship and connections, again, an isolated, lonely student who sits in a room all the time is not going to be successful. They've got to be engaged with the institute, with other students, with their courses and their professors and stuff, and over time make the connections, then build the friendships that they want. And that all doesn't have to happen in the first week or even in the first semester or even in the first year. Sometimes it takes a while. There is no one way to do this, but they have to continue to try. If, again, you feel that your student is isolating and lonely and not coming out and being a part of things, and that's kind of something that's playing out for too long, you need to let us know so that we can kind of do an intervention and how to figure out how to help that student. So I use these examples because these are very real examples that happen every single year for us in terms of the work that we do with students. Next slide. So Student Life is here to help. You know your student much better than we do. You've raised them. And so if you have concerns, there's a referral tab on our main webpage. You can just make a referral. And you just let us know who you are. If you want to remain anonymous and you don't want your student to know that you submitted it, we will respect that. If you want us to kind of share that it's okay, then we will, all right? Referrals come in from all over. Referrals come in from faculty members, from fellow students, from academic advisors, from family members, and from other administrators on campus. And typically they would just tell us why they're concerned about a student. And then in the dean's office, we have dean's appointments. We contact students, we bring them in, we check in with them, and we see what's going on. Here's what I'll say as parents, your instincts are usually right on, okay? Just go with your instinct. If you really feel that something's not right, let it be known to us, and we will, do the intervention. Mental health matters here. Again, we're committed to it. We have GT Care, which is our triage center. We have the counseling center. We have psychiatry. We have health initiatives, which is our proactive place that does a lot of education on health-related and mental health-related issues. And then we have the vice president and dean of students office. The dean's office, we see probably well over 1,000 students every given academic year. We have dean's appointments that we can keep. We also have a dean on call. We have a counselor on call. Housing has residence life staff on call. There's a very robust on-call system here, after hours, weekends, and holidays. So there's always some group of people who are on call to deal with an emergency situation when it happens. So just be reassured by that. And obviously our GTPD, our police department, is here on campus all the time. Next slide. That's it. I'm going to turn this over to Emily now. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Dean Stein. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Tech. My name is Emily Takadine. I'm the Director of Development for Parent Giving and Student Life. In my role, I work closely with parents who are interested in making philanthropic gifts to the Institute. I facilitate a parents board under Dean Stein's guidance, and I help to manage the annual fund for the division called the Parents Fund for Student Life and Leadership. Next slide. So the Parents Fund is the division's annual fund that supports student organizations, student leadership, and students in need through the STAR program that Dean Stein mentioned. Giving to the Parents program helps to drive a sense of community at Tech through robust programming and student-run events and clubs. It also supports individual students in leadership roles at Tech and helps students with emergency needs. We will reach out to you as the school year begins and ask you to make a gift in support of your student and in support of all Tech students. In the meantime, I'm going to put my email address in the chat box. Please feel free to reach out with any questions that you have about giving, or if you'd like to learn more about the Parents Board at Tech. Looking forward to meeting many of you in August during move-in. And now I'm going to pass it over to my colleagues Tyler and Lacey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emily, for talking about our wonderful Parents Fund and our also wonderful Parents Board. Both do great work for our Georgia Tech community. Also like to thank Dean Stein for just talking about, what every Yellow Jacket parent should know. Definitely some great nuggets and gems within that presentation. As Emily said, my name is Tyler Barker. I serve as the coordinator within the Office of Parent and Family Programs, and we'd just like to welcome you to Georgia Tech. As you can see on the left, we are a two-person office, as myself as the coordinator and Lacey Whedon as the director. We are accompanied by parent assistant leaders, which we call PALs for short. Every year we have about 10 to 15 student leaders who work in our office and really just help us out day to day with logistics, event programming and planning, our major events, and also kind of helping us answer the phones, respond to emails. They're a really great resource to kind of, when you all call and check in, to kind of rely and lean on our students. So they do a really great job for us. Our office was founded in 2009 in an effort to increase engagement and inclusion amongst the parents and families in the Georgia Tech community. When many of you perhaps went to college or one of your family members went to college, parent and family program offices weren't that common across the country, but now they're pretty prevalent and we're doing great work. Our motto is when parents and families are informed, students benefit. And that is something that we truly believe all the way to the top of our administration across our campus body and community. Our mission is to equip parents and families with the information and resources they need to support their students, provide opportunities for parents and families to stay connected and involved in their students' educational experience. So getting informed and involved, and that's something that we really pride ourselves in. We're going to kind of talk about how do we do that. And so one of the ways is through communication. We really pride ourselves on communication. We like to think of our office as kind of your backbone or your concierge throughout your students' time here at Georgia Tech. And so we have a couple of different communication touch points just to highlight here quickly. First is a parent and family calendar / parent handbook, which we are offering this year, both digital and available for purchase on our website. The calendar is really awesome because it has a lot of important dates, such as when to pay the bill, when are the dates to register for classes, academic breaks and holidays, the football schedule, just a lot of important dates as it relates to the academic calendars is all through our calendar. There's also helpful information about study tips, homesickness. Our parent handbook includes information about important offices on campus and their contact information. Our calendar is probably one of our most sought after communication touch points. Every year we have faculty and staff members stop by and say, hey Tyler, hey Lacey, do you mind if I just get a copy this year? It just really keeps me on track throughout the school year. And it's something that our parents look forward to every single summer. I'd also like to mention our parent newsletter, which we send out electronically on a monthly basis. If you're not signed up, don't worry, we'll get you signed up in a few moments. Our newsletter is great because it includes relevant and intentional information on a month-to-month basis about what's going on campus, such as dining updates, housing updates, when is the next flu shot, when is the next career fair, study abroad updates, and things of that sort. So definitely stay tuned for that, because our newsletter is very helpful for parents and families. When the students call home and have a couple questions, you can just kind of look to that newsletter and kind of give them some resources and programs and some things that are happening on campus. I definitely encourage you to visit our website over the weekend if you have some downtime, parents.ghtech.edu, just to learn a little bit more about our office, some of the programs and resources and events that we host, and some things that we do. A lot of great information on there. We're pretty active on Facebook. We have over 6,000 followers, so I would highly encourage you to give us a follow on our official Georgia Tech Parents Program Facebook page, as well as Instagram. For any Instagram moms, dads, aunts, uncles out there, definitely give us a follow on the gram. We're pretty new to the gram, but we currently have over 1,300 followers, and we just like to keep relevant information on our social media sites and platforms, kind of keep you involved. We like to share what other offices are doing as well. So definitely just feel free to give us a follow there. Always feel free to email or call our office. Like I said, we're kind of your backbone or your concierge. If you don't know where to start with something, definitely shoot us an email. We have parents and family members call and email us all the time. Hey Tyler, my student's thinking about changing their major. Not sure where to start, not sure how to encourage them. Hey Tyler, we're coming in town. Hey Lacey, we're coming in town for the weekend. Any restaurant recommendations, or if you just want to call and just talk through some things. My student is struggling socially, making friends, and I'm just not sure how to support them as a parent. Just call. We're here to help, and more than happy to kind of point you in the right direction. Just talking about a couple different volunteer opportunities. Many of you perhaps were involved in your student's high school career, or you're looking to get involved now that they're going off to college, now that you have a little bit more free time on your hands. So we have a couple different opportunities. If you're local, we have FASET orientation, family weekend, and commencement. If you're local to the Metro Atlanta area, if you're not, it's totally fine. We like to keep you engaged as well. We like to connect you to local or regional events that are happening that are hosted by admissions, alumni, and other Georgia Tech representatives. We most certainly like to welcome you to our Parents Association. All parents and family members are automatically members. There's absolutely no cost to be a member of our association. We're simply just committed to strengthening the partnership between Georgia Tech and our parents and families. I would highly encourage you to screenshot, write down this URL link to fill out our Parent Association information card. This will allow us to have your email address in our database so that we can send you our monthly newsletter. It's also an opportunity for us to kind of gauge your interest in terms of level of involvement, whether you're interested in the Parents Board, our Parent Ambassador Program, or just volunteering as well. Definitely would highly encourage you to fill out our Parent Association information card, which is digital this year. Now I would like to talk about our Parent and Family Ambassador Program. This is something that we created to allow parents from all over the world to have an opportunity to be involved and be connected if you're not local to the Metro Atlanta area. We currently have over 100 ambassadors worldwide, ranging from Dubai to California, to Texas to New York. And simply what you do as an ambassador, you serve as a resource to your local area, to incoming or current parents and families of Georgia Tech students. And what this does, it allows parents to contact you and say, hey, Tyler, I see you're in the Houston area. I have a student there as well. Would love to kind of pick your brain about what your experience has been like as a Georgia Tech parent. Any tips and tricks that you can provide me, would love to just chat over email. And that's pretty much how that conversation goes. And we also collaborate with admissions as well in the spring, doing some yield work for the incoming first year class. And so our ambassador program is really great. It's minimal time commitment, but it allows you to just kind of stay connected. And lastly, before I turn it over to Lacey, definitely like to highlight our What's Buzzin' at Georgia Tech webinar series. Last year, as you can imagine with the pandemic, we had to kind of transition in terms of how we're supporting and programming for parents. And so we thought not better to come up with a webinar series to kind of give you some face time with offices on campus that you normally wouldn't get before the pandemic. So what we did in the fall and the spring, we took about an hour during the lunch hour here on the East Coast and hosted several offices on campus: housing, dining, campus safety, health and well-being, study abroad. Really kind of let them get an opportunity to go through the nuts and bolts of what they're doing in their office, some kind of unique things, and how they best support Georgia Tech students, ask questions. Was really, really great. And that's something that we're going to continue throughout this upcoming school year. Highly encourage you to visit. If you would like to check out some of our past recordings, visit our website here, as you can see at the bottom under the Stay Connected tab. Most of the information is still relevant. However, we are transitioning to a new school year. So some of the information may not be as relevant, but most of the information, depending upon the office and the content, is. So I highly encourage you to maybe check out a webinar or two over the weekend if you have some downtime.
All right, thank you, Tyler.
Yep.
So my name's Lacey. I'm the Director of Parent Friendly Programs, and for our last few minutes here, I'm just going to highlight some of the events that we do for families and our students. So the first day of class pictures is something that we do. We know you probably took pictures when they were younger, that first day of class, and we're going to continue that tradition for you on campus. So students stop by our table the first day of class, and we have dry erase boards. They can write notes to usually to mom, but sometimes to dad or the whole family or sisters and brothers at home. Just kind of saying kind of the first day of class, I made it, or I'm here, I'm excited. And then our seniors, actually, all of our students really love this day, and our seniors enjoy it because they get to say it's their last first day. And so that picture is always fun too. And faculty and staff get into it. It's a fun time for students to stop by. So encourage your students to stop by. We'll use their camera, but we'll also use our camera and post those pictures on our parent Facebook page. The next event we have is Family Weekend, which is October 1st through the 3rd. Friday is campus tours, educational workshops, a session with the President Cabrera. We also have college and school receptions in the afternoon, and then Family Fun Night. We are actually at the College Football Hall of Fame. We've reserved the entire building for Friday night for families to come and hang out with Buzz. The Georgia Tech cheerleaders will be around, and it's just an opportunity to kind of learn more about that special venue and spend time with your family and maybe meet other families that Friday night. Saturday is our Family Weekend tailgate on Tech Tower lawn and our football game against the University of Pittsburgh. Sunday is our Sunday brunch with Dean Stein. There'll also be some other opportunities with the Campus Recreation Center, like a zip line or climbing wall. A lot of different things happening that weekend. So things to know, planning ahead for Family Weekend classes are not canceled for Friday. So your student will probably be in class probably till that afternoon, depending on their class schedule, and they'll just join you as soon as they're done. We do encourage you to book your hotel as soon as possible. We will have shuttles running from the hotels that are listed on our Family Weekend website on Friday and Saturday to take you from your hotel to campus for the different events that we have going on that day. And then registration actually starts next week, July 15th, and will close on September 15th. So we encourage you to register when you have talked to your family. And please know that students sometimes have other plans. If they're in a club sport, or if they're in athletics, or maybe they're in a performance group, they may actually be gone that weekend. So definitely want to check with your student and think about if they might be out of town before you make your reservation. I'm just going to highlight a couple more events that we have. The next one is Sibs Day, And that typically is in February, a Saturday in February. We don't know the exact date yet because we're waiting for the basketball schedule to get released. The Saturday, the Sibs Day is an event for children ages 7 to 18 to come hang out with their brother or sister. Could be a cousin, could be a niece, could be a family friend who just comes for the day. It's a day in the life of a Georgia Tech student. So they will do campus tours, educational workshops, some community service. We have inflatables, we'll do the men's basketball game, we provide lunch and dinner to them. Their number one thing typically that they enjoy doing is not only hanging out with their sibling, learning about tech, but they love the dining hall because it's all you can eat. It's very exciting for them. So that's always popular. And then another event that we created 2 years ago, right before COVID, was our Grandparents and Friends Day. And that will be in March of spring of 2022. And again, we'll wait for the baseball schedule to get released before we know the exact day, the exact Saturday for that event. But it's campus tours. We do Atlanta tours too, bus tours, a nice luncheon, and then we do the baseball game. It's just kind of a short afternoon, not too much for the families, but enough to get them to spend some time with their Georgia Tech student, and for the Georgia Tech students to spend some quality time with their grandparents or perhaps an aunt and uncle. Sometimes parents will attend with them, sometimes they don't. It's kind of up to each family, but it was a very popular event 2 years ago, and we're excited to bring it back in 2022. So you may have heard of the helicopter parent who hovers over their child to make sure they succeed. There's also the lawnmower parent, who plows the way to their child's success, the drone parent that hovers, the snowplow parent. There's lots of different images out there for families. We actually like to think of the families at Georgia Tech as tandem bicycle families. So when your child was younger and they had 3 pieces of hair and their legs didn't quite reach the pedals, you made choices for them as to what you saw them getting involved with. Maybe it was Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts or swimming lessons or piano lessons, whatever kind of you saw their personality kind of gearing to, and you kind of wanted to cultivate that. And then as they got older, and they got 3 more pieces of hair and their legs finally reached the pedals, they were able to kind of contribute to their journey and say, I really don't want to take piano lessons anymore. I have decided I would like to go to do more things in the STEM field, or I'd like to do more science stuff. Whatever it is that they kind of saw their interest kind of leaning towards. And you again were on the journey with them, kind of helping them along on that path. And now they're at Georgia Tech. We're going to switch the seats because we need them to decide their major, to decide what student organizations they're going to get involved with. Are they going to study abroad? Are they going to do community service work? Are they doing an internship? Are they doing a co-op? And they do that all along with you. You're still on the bicycle with them, but certainly we need them to kind of take the lead in their life, and we need them to develop their critical thinking skills, to develop their independent skills, because those are all things that they're going to need when they graduate. But we want them to have you with them. We want you to be with them on their bike because their brains are still developing and growing until they're 25. And so they still need that support. They still need you pedaling with them, patting them on the back for a job well done when they finished exams. So think of the image of a bicycle image. We have families call Tyler and I and we'll say, I don't want to be one of those helicopter parents, but I have a question. And we will tell you, you're not a helicopter parent. You're a parent, and that is your job, and we're happy to help. So please remember this image. It definitely helps families feel a little bit better about calling and letting us help you. So ways to support your student. Care packages, they love them. Please definitely send goodies to them. They enjoy getting those from home. If they love certain cookies that you make, or you want to order something for them, please do that. They really do enjoy that, especially if they've had a hard day or a hard week. Those are very much appreciated. Texting is the #1 way our students communicate. Some families will create a group text so all the family members can chat together. Listen to what they have to say. The more you listen, the more that they will share with you. Encourage students to take advantage of all the opportunities we have on campus and in Atlanta. There's so much to do and so much to get involved with. Remind them that they have their support, but encourage them to find their own solutions. That goes back to what Dean Stein said, because that's important for them to start navigating that on their own. Try not to worry too much. You did a great job getting them to Georgia Tech, and we are going to continue that on our faculty and staff as well, supporting them. And then let them know that you love them and that you believe in them and trust them. We hear that from our students a lot, especially when they're super stressed out, that having you tell them that you love them and that you are kind of their cheerleader really does make a difference and makes them feel better. Next slide. So we do have a fun little homework assignment. We're running out of time here, so I'm just going to wrap up. It's just on our website. We used to pass these out in person, but since we're not in person, there's a virtual version of the postcard where you can just go to our website, scroll to the bottom of our website page, fill in some information, and email an electronic version of this postcard to them, like maybe the first week of class, to tell them they're going to be great, you're amazing, we love you, the dog misses you already, whatever it is, and they kind of get that fun email from you. We're going to skip this slide, go to our last slide. So this is our information again. Please email us, please call. If you have any questions, please let us know how we can help. I'm going to turn it back over to James for a last few questions we have before we close out. Thank you.
All right, I do thank you all, Dean Stein, Emily, Tyler, and Lacey, for that very insightful presentation on how our parents can get more involved on campus here at Georgia Tech. We're going to look in the chat to see if we have any questions before we get off for the day. And I think one of the questions was where exactly are the first day pictures going to be held at, Lacey?
Yeah, I can answer that. So they're going to be on Tech Green, so which the students will kind of know where that is. That's near the Clough Undergraduate Learning Commons. So they will be, that's where the Starbucks is. They'll definitely know where that is. Right near the Einstein statue. So we usually have our table and tent right next to the Einstein statue. That huge area is a very popular crossroads for all students going to class. So that's why we picked that spot. And so students will definitely see us. There'll be a line. We're going to try and get some cookies delivered that day. So hopefully that'll be fun. While they take their picture, they can get a cookie.
All right, and thank you so much for that answer there, Lacey. And thank you all to our presenters for presenting today. And we thank you all out there so much for joining us today for our campus partner presentation. And feel free to email our offices for additional questions that may have not been answered today. Please stay safe out there. And again, welcome to Georgia Tech.